somebody to scoot up front. Let's just do that. Let's just all get close. And I can't see nothing over this. Oh, now recording. Now you put your phone down, sir. Trust you. On behalf of the family, I would like to thank everyone for coming today and being with them in this hour of need. William McAdoo Grant Sr. died Friday, March 22nd, 2024 at his home. Bill loved his family more than anything and friends. He was a devoted husband of 47 years and an extremely loving father to his children, whom he adored. Bill was a kiln operator at the Brickyard in Nashville, Tennessee. Although the job was hot and a lot of hard work, he enjoyed his time there. While working at the Brickyard, he pursued a career in law enforcement, earning a place on a civil defense team in Nashville. Realizing he didn't want to raise a family in the big city, he moved his family to Lewisport, Kentucky, which is when we found him. He moved to Lewisport and continued his career in law enforcement with the Lewisport Police Department. Eventually, he hired on Southwire and retired as a mill operator in the rod and cable mill. We all know Bill's personality. He was one not to be forgotten. What we're going to do today is we're all going to, if you would like to, share a memory of Bill and with the family. His love for his kids was like nothing I've ever seen. And the love between him and Rhonda is a testament of how you can get along and not get along and still get along and love to the very end. Bill loved to laugh. And his laugh was so unique. And if you could get him to do it, it didn't stop. The days moving forward are going to be hard. Just lean on each other. And BJ is supposed to send me a text message, but he, I guess, lost my number. It's under Edith in your phone. And he would love this, and he would know. He would know that we were all here. When Bill was still working Southwire, Rhonda worked at Ragu. I babysit for BJ and Christy. In the house they lived on Lewisport in Market Street, not far from where we lived. And Bill one day asked BJ what he was working on. He said he was working on something for school. And he said, "I need to know your job title, Dad." And he said, and that he was an associate of in the rod mill and everything at the time. And BJ said, he said, how do you spell associate, Dad? And Bill looked down at him, and I said, ASS. And Bill just let it go. He didn't really think about it for a few minutes, and then he goes, hey, Edie. And from then on, Bill became my ass. And we have picked on each other about that, and that has been decades. When tomorrow starts without me, and I'm not there to see, if the sun should rise and find your eyes all filled with tears for me, I know how much you love me as much as I love you. And each time that you think of me, I know you'll miss me too. So when tomorrow starts without me, don't think we're far apart. And every time you think of me, I'm right here in your heart. Would someone else like that? You can just stand up where you're at. You don't have to come up here. share a memory with the family, share a memory about Bill.
Y'all, this is my fault that we're doing it this way. I thought the funeral home was getting the preacher that we wanted, and they thought I was getting it, so we wanted without a preacher. So, as a loving tribute, we're doing it this way. And Bill would have loved us more than anything, because he came from people that loved him and cared about him and knew him. I remember the day that we got married. We were rushing around like chickens with our heads cut off, trying to get everything done. Last thing we were doing was trying to get the flowers, his boutonniere and my wedding bouquet. We went to the place that we'd ordered them, and they said, "Oops, we're sorry, they're not done yet." Bill got a little upset with them and said, "You were supposed to have them done by 5 o'clock today," which was on Friday. Well, they weren't done yet. So we were running all over town trying to get somebody to make it for us. And we finally found a place that did, and they were so nice to us. They really went above and beyond what they were supposed to have done, and hardly charged us anything at all for them. When we got back to the wedding, it was so strange. It was like a comedy of errors. It was like something you'd see on a cartoon. When my dad was walking me down the aisle, he tripped over the gown. When I went to put Bill's ring on, of course, I dropped it and it rolled down through the pews. And the preacher pronounced us husband and husband, which, you know, looking at me, how could you make that mistake? But he did. But all in all, we made it through that one. And it was just a little strange, but from there on, made it through. We always said we'd never go to bed angry. We never did. We always talked things out. Sometimes we didn't always agree, even when we talked them out, but we talked them out. I remember one day we were going to Nashville. The kids were in the back seat, and all of a sudden, Bill just burst out laughing. Out of nowhere, he just burst out laughing. We said, "What are you laughing about?" He said, "I told myself a joke." And he just started laughing again. And we sat there, okay, is he going to share the joke with us? Is he going to tell us what was so funny? He never did tell us what was so funny. He just told himself a joke and it was funny to him, and that was that. He got pleasures out of the simplest things in life. And to him, where we live now, in our little country place, is like a castle to him. It's all he wanted. It's all he needed. And I'm going to miss him so much, and this is going to be so hard. But I thank everyone that came. And if anybody else wants to speak.
Rhonda mentioned that their wedding day was like a cartoon, and that's what I remember about Bill was the cartoons. I used to go over to Rhonda and Bill's when we got off work, especially on Fridays, with my daughter. She was young at the time. And we'd go shopping. That was the planned thing. We were going shopping, and Jess would stay there with Bill and watch cartoons. And I remember one night we were going home, and she said, "Bill's the funniest thing. Have you ever seen him feed popcorn to a dog?" You know, Bill was a dog person. And I said, "Bill feeds popcorn to the dog?" She said, "Yeah, to Coco. She'll jump up and grab it out of your hand. Bill let me feed popcorn to the dog." And I was thinking, that's Bill. He had his own 2 kids. I never really saw him interact with other children, but he was a godsend to Rhonda and myself, letting us go out and go shopping. Never complained about it. Of course, we looked more than we shopped, but he was always there to watch cartoons, fix popcorn, and play with the dog and my daughter. As Jess got older, it was just me going over to Rhonda and Bill's, but he was still playing with the dogs and feeding them popcorn and watching the cartoons. And that's Bill.
Bill told the story one time, and I guess he's told it many times, but the way we heard it was they were crossing the border going into Canada. And they asked Bill if he had any guns, and he told them, yeah. And so they said, "Well, pull over right over here." And so they take all the stuff out of the car, didn't find any guns. Border Patrol come up to Bill and said, "I thought you said you had guns." He said, "I do." He said, "Where are they?" He said, "At home." "You didn't ask me if I had guns with me. You asked me if I had guns." That sounds like Bill, don't it?
Yeah, this is tough. Hardest thing I've ever had to do. He was dad. He was pops. He's the best friend I ever had in my life. Comfortable saying that. Never got bad advice from him. Anything we ever needed, we could go to him. He always had the most sound advice for anything we had going on, regardless what it was. Relationships, life, work, just anything. Me, my sister, my mom. His circle was small. Dad didn't have a lot of friends. He didn't want a lot of friends. He didn't dislike people, but he had a small circle and he cared about the people deeply in his circle. I hope he knows how much he meant to us. I think we tried to show him every way we could, but we just never feel like it's enough. But he was our world. He was everything. He was the one person that could put a smile on our face no matter how bad things were. And he's left us with a lifetime of memories. I hope I never lose my memories. I don't want to lose what I have of him. But he's a good one. I wasn't really prepared to talk today, so to say that we were blessed. I think everybody knew he was blessed to get to know him, blessed for him to be part of our life. He had a sense of humor that it just didn't stop. He was so happy with the simple things in life. A lot of things people take for granted, he appreciated so much. And I've learned a lot from that. I've learned to appreciate things that I probably wouldn't have appreciated without him. Got a lot to be thankful for. I appreciate everybody being here today, because everybody that's here meant something to him, whether you know it or not. He's with everybody in a different way. He's definitely with us in our heart. And I never thought I'd be a person walking down the driveway looking up at the sky talking to somebody that's no longer with us in a physical state. In the last 2 or 3 days I've been talking to the sky a lot. I feel like he can hear me. I'll keep doing that, I guess. That's all I got for now.
This is extremely hard. I can't even look over there. It freaks me out. See my dad like that. It's not how I remember him. It's not how I want to remember him. To say that we've been more than lucky to have him as our dad, as my mom's husband. If we tried a million times, we couldn't have put together a better person. Everybody has their different memories of my dad, and I love that. We get to hear some stories about him that we don't know, but my dad loved his family fiercely, and his friends that were like family, extended family. I remember he used to come home from working a 12 or 16-hour shift at the factory, and he would go to the little gas station and get his mom and dad some sausage and biscuits and take to them to their house. And then he would always pick up a pack of sweet tarts for me and my brother, because some nights he wouldn't even really see us or whatever. He would always leave us a little pack of sweet tarts. He always had a bad back for as long as I can remember, but he always put me and my brother on each leg, on each foot, and walked around the house with us on his feet when we were little, and we thought that was the funniest thing. And my dad was hurting, and never once did we ever know it. I couldn't imagine a better dad, a better friend. He's always been there for us. Now I could call at 3 o'clock in the morning, my dad wouldn't answer. It didn't matter what time, it didn't matter what it was. My dad was always there. Remember my son was little. I mean, his back was hurting all the time then, and he thought my son was the funniest thing when he was little. He used to laugh at everything he did. It was so funny, because to me, I just saw a lot of my son and my dad with this like kind of quirky sense of humor and stuff. And I think that we've made my dad proud, and I hope that we have. I hope that he knows how much that we love him, and I couldn't imagine in a million years having a better dad, having a better person in my life. I think a lot of me and my brother show in my dad, and for that I'm thankful. My dad was a really good person, and I feel like we're good people. I think he made us all better people. Edie, I want to say thank you. Nobody was prepared for this. Kind of took a turn, but in all honesty, I think my dad would have liked it this way better. So if anybody does have a story or anything, just a memory or anything they would like to say, I think it would really be nice to hear anything. So thank you guys. Thank everybody for coming.
Grant was a simple man. He didn't require a whole lot of extra stuff that everybody in this lifetime will have to have. He enjoyed his family. He loved dogs. He hated Pepsi, right?
No.
Coke. Sorry. Sorry. He didn't like Coke. He'd get worked up at restaurants whenever they have his beverage that he liked. He was the kindest, most genuine person anybody in this whole lifetime would ever meet. He'd do anything he could for you. If you didn't have it, he'd try to figure out how to make something happen, but he'd try to hit you some kind of way. He loved dogs. He loved feeding popcorn on his dogs. He loved his property where he stayed at, out in the middle of the forest. It's real nice there. He loved the trees. He loved his hummingbirds and everything. It's just not much of a speaker, so you have to excuse me. But, he was a real genuine person, and it was sad that he always hurt all the time with body aches and pains and stuff because he wasn't able to, have his body in, like, without pain. But, you never know he was hurting unless if you asked or he'd say something. He was a special kind of person, and he was special to me and everybody in here. I'm just kind of nervous. I don't like speaking in front of a lot of people, so just bear with me. I'm trying to. That's all I got for now.
Sorry, y'all, right here, just gonna sit here and listen to music a little bit. Well, I can tell the entire story that I'll keep us coming.
We're gonna ask for the casket first. Yeah, so they can come back out this way and we get the casket out. All the cars are up here.
I didn't know y'all did.
All right.
Bill's body's all that we have left right now. But his spirit has filled this room. And he'll be with us forever in memory. But don't you know that the reunion with his mom and dad in heaven was a beautiful thing. Because he loved them as much as he did y'all. And I'm sure that him and my mother have all of heaven laughing and all funny and loud. We're gonna, y'all ready? We'll come by one more time if y'all wanna come up front. Why don't we all just come stand together? Let's just do it different.